Hello, everybody. It's Sports Guy Ron. I'm here with your Week 14 recap of the weekend's games. The first game, we had Tennessee going into Cleveland, and they were victorious 31-29. I took the L on that on the win and the spread. Shedeur Sanders did have a good game for Cleveland. That gives them some hope going forward. 23 of 42, 364 yards, 3 touchdowns, 1 interception. Tony Pollard had a big game for Tennessee. For some reason, Cleveland's run defense just didn't show up in this game. He had 25 carries for 161 yards and 2 touchdowns, a 68 and a 32. I guess the way you could look at it is the other 23 carries, he only had about 60 yards. But, I mean, you give up 2 big plays for touchdowns like that. That's not good. Cleveland's special teams was awful. They missed two-point conversions also. They could have been tied 31-31 with 2 extra points. They went for 2, down 8 to try to make it a 6-point. The analytics play that you see so often now. Of course, they fumbled the snap and it was messed up. Then they went down and scored a touchdown. They're down by 2. They ran a trick play with a reverse with Sanders off of the field. Judkins didn't pitch it to the guy he was supposed to pitch it to, the wide receiver. He probably would have walked in, but he didn't pitch it, so it was unsuccessful, and they lost 31-29. By the way, Tennessee is now 2-11 with the win. Cleveland falls to 3-10. In the next game, we have Seattle. They went into Atlanta, dominated the second half, and won 37-9. Seattle's now 10-3. Atlanta's 3-10. I got the win on that on the win and spread. Rashid Shaheed, he had a kickoff return to begin the second half. It was tied 6-6 at halftime. Jackson Smith-Njigba, 7 catches, 92 yards, 2 touchdowns. He's got a chance to be Offensive Player of the Year with the stats he's been putting up. Seattle, 6 of 13 on third downs. Atlanta, 1 for 13. You can't win if you can only convert 1 third down. And Seattle dominated the second half, outscoring Atlanta 31-3, and that was the game. Big AFC South matchup. We had Jacksonville was victorious over Indianapolis 36-19. I got the win with that in the spread. Unfortunately for Indy, Daniel Jones tore his Achilles. He's out for a year. That's not good for them and their playoff hopes. They're actually now out of the playoffs at this moment, from being the number 1 seed to out of the playoffs in a few weeks. That's not good. It looks like that Indianapolis is going to sign Phillip Rivers because the quarterback Riley Leonard that they put in after Daniel Jones got hurt also hurt his knee, and he's week to week. He might be able to play this week, but might not. They already have Anthony Richardson on IR. They're in a world of hurt. Jacksonville held Indy to 26 carries for 89 yards on the ground. Jonathan Taylor couldn't get it going real well. Trevor Lawrence, 17-30, 244, 2 touchdowns. He didn't turn the ball over and an interception, so all of them stats lead to Jacksonville coming out with a victory and being first in the AFC South, the leader in the division now. And they have a game lead now over Indy and Houston. The next game, 2 teams that aren't going to make the playoffs. Minnesota was victorious over Washington 31-0. I got the win on that in the spread. Washington held to 206 total yards. Their offense just did not do much all day. They've turned the ball over 3 times. Minnesota, 0 turnovers. Washington 0 for 2 in the red zone. Minnesota 4 of 4 touchdowns in the red zone. Yeah, that's the way you win 31-0 and shut out Washington. Jaden Daniels threw a interception and was run back, and he got hurt again. He fell on his elbow that he's just coming back from. Supposedly he could have went back in if they wanted to, but they decided to hold him out. It wasn't as bad as the last time, but yeah, I don't know. He just can't seem to stay healthy this year. and the record shows 3-10. Minnesota with the win is 5-8 now. Good game, really exciting game, but unfortunately for Cincinnati, they just couldn't overcome some late Buffalo heroics. Buffalo at home won 39-34 over Cincinnati. I got the win on that. I took the L on the spread by a point. Josh Allen, 22 of 28, 251 yards, 3 touchdowns, 9 rushes, 78 yards and a touchdown. Joe Burrow, 25 of 36, 284 yards, 4 touchdowns. Was having a phenomenal game, but then late he had 2 interceptions on back-to-back possessions. Cincinnati led 28-25. They were driving in Buffalo territory again. He tried throwing a pass over top of Christian Benford, but he just didn't put enough oomph on it. Benford picked it off, ran it back for a touchdown. So the Buffalo then led 32-28. Cincinnati, the next time they got the ball, he threw another interception. Buffalo again took it in for a touchdown. They had a short field, and that was the game. Cincinnati did make a late touchdown. They tried to get it close. They tried an onside kick, but to no avail. Buffalo wins. They are now 9-4. Cincinnati looks like they're done now in playoff picture, 4-9. NFC South matchup that I didn't see coming. New Orleans beat Tampa Bay 24-20. I took the L on that on the win of the spread. I guess I should have seen it coming because Tampa Bay has been playing horrible. Baker Mayfield, 14-30, 122 yards, a touchdown, and an interception. I did say back when he got hurt that he hurt his shoulder, and it really affected him when he was with Cleveland back a few years ago. Same thing's happening with Tampa. They're on a losing streak. They've lost a bunch of games here. He's not playing well. I think I saw a stat that since for like the last 6 weeks, he's like 36th out of 37 rated quarterbacks in QBR. I think I don't even know who's worse, to be honest. But like there's players better than him, like Dylan Gabriel was better stats, etc. So, Tyler Shook outplayed him in this game. He didn't do tons. It was 13-20 for 144 yards. He did have an interception. You're going to get that with rookies. But he did have 7 carries for 55 yards and 2 touchdown runs. That was the big difference in the game. He ran the ball. One of the plays, he looked like he was dead to rights. He got out of the sack and went around the left end and got it into the end zone. It's a really good play. He's really showing, I think there's something to work with him. I know he's older and he should look better than some of the other guys, but he's looked pretty okay, to be honest, for New Orleans. That's going to give them a real decision what to do in the draft coming up. The win does send them up to 3-10, and Tampa Bay falls to 7-6, and in a tie with Carolina for first place in the NFC South. In the big matchup in the AFC North, we have Pittsburgh going into Baltimore and winning 27-22. I took the L on the win with Baltimore. I did get the W with Pittsburgh to cover. I knew 6 points was way too much because these teams always play close games. The 5-point difference here is actually high for this rivalry. Aaron Rodgers, his best game in quite a long time, 23 of 34, 284 and a touchdown. He also had a rushing touchdown. Pittsburgh won the game despite being outrushed 217-34. You don't do that very often. The passing yards were pretty reasonably close, too. It just was one of those games for Pittsburgh. I mean, they could not run the ball at all. And they ran the ball a lot, but they just made too many mistakes in this game. Another big factor in this game, officiating. There are 3 big calls in this game. One was an overturned interception where they said Rodgers had the ball and was down, and that was questionable. Then they had a roughing the snapper penalty on a field goal that supposedly the NFL has already told Baltimore that they got that call wrong, but instead of getting a field goal the very next play, Pittsburgh got a touchdown. That's a 4-point difference right there. Then at the end of the game, Baltimore is driving for a go-ahead touchdown. They had caught it with Isaiah Likely in the end zone. They said he had got 2 feet down. He had the ball. He almost got his third down. I guess that doesn't constitute to them that he made a football move, because they said it was incomplete when it was knocked out of his hands. Sure looked like a catch to me. I got to be honest. I think Baltimore, all 3 of those went against Baltimore and for Pittsburgh. It's hard to overcome that. It's not the only reason they lost, but it was a factor. And as much as I don't like Baltimore, I got to say that's the truth on that one. But we'll see. They're going to play again coming up in Pittsburgh, see if Baltimore can return the favor and win in Pittsburgh. Now Pittsburgh has a 1-game lead over Baltimore, and they're 7-6. Baltimore's 6-7. And so that's that story on this board. Let's go to the second board for the rest of the games. Okay, in the last 1 o'clock game, we have Miami. They went into New York and dominated the Jets 34-10. Miami's now 6-7, keeping their faint playoff hopes alive. The Jets fall to 3-10. I took the L on that of the win and the spread. Devon Achane, 7 carries, 92 yards, and a touchdown, but left with a rib injury. Jalen Wright, rookie for Miami, stepped up in his absence, 24 carries, 107 yards, and a touchdown. Miami's defense, 207 yards allowed on defense. 1 of 12 third downs given to the Jets. 0 of 3 in the red zone for the Jets. Miami was 4 of 4 in the red zone. Those are the differences in the game. Tua only threw for like 120 yards, and it didn't matter. I mean, they dominated the game, controlled it from beginning to end, and was able to win. First 4 o'clock game, Denver defeated Las Vegas 24-17. Denver's now 11-2. Las Vegas is 2-11. I got the win on that. I took the loss on the spread by half a point, because for whatever reason, Las Vegas decided to kick a field goal at the end of the game with no time on the clock to cover the spread. That's a big story in the betting world, and people are wondering, why are you bothering with that? But I don't know. Las Vegas had 229 total yards, 3 of 9 on third down. Their offense is just bad. Geno went out with like a hand, I think it was. Kenny Pickett came in, did throw a touchdown for them later on in the game. Denver had a 39-21 minute in time of possession advantage, so that Las Vegas defense was on the field quite a bit. Didn't play bad for considering they were on the field that much, but Denver was pretty much in control this whole game the whole way. I mean, it was 24-7. Pickett got that late touchdown, and then they got that field goal at the last minute to make it look like it was reasonably close, but it wasn't. So Denver, they're now farther ahead there in the AFC West over Kansas City. The Chargers were able to keep pace, but they still got the 2-game lead with 4 games to play. In the NFC West matchup, we have the Rams defeating Arizona 45-17. The Rams are 10-3. Arizona is 3-10. Matthew Stafford was 22 of 31 for 281 and 3 touchdowns. Blake Corum was the big runner in this game, 12 carries for 128 yards and 2 touchdowns. Puka Nacua, 7 catches, 167 yards and 2 touchdowns. Michael Wilson had 11 carries or 11 receptions. Quit. For Arizona, Michael Wilson had another big game. 11 catches for 142 yards and 2 touchdowns. I got the win on that and the win in the spread. Knew that was coming, so that was what happened. And Rams are still in first place in the NFC West. In the big NFC North matchup, Green Bay was able to hold serve at home. They defeated Chicago 28-21. I got the win on that. I took the L on that on the spread by half a point again. Jordan Love, 17-25, 234 yards, 3 touchdowns, and an interception. Josh Jacobs, 20 carries, 86 yards, and a touchdown. Christian Watson was their big receiver, 4 for 89 and 2 touchdowns. Jaden Reed caught the ball a couple times. He is back for Green Bay. That helped out their offense, seemed like, opened things up a little bit. Chicago was only 2 of 4 getting touchdowns in the red zone. That was kind of the difference in this game. They settled for 2 field goals, and they were not able to overcome that. It's been a problem for them. They've overcome it a few times lately, but they've done better getting touchdowns, but it came back to bite them a little bit in this game against the good Green Bay defense. And Green Bay now has a lead. They're 9-3-1. They've got a half-game lead there over Chicago for the division. In the Sunday night game, Houston was able to go into Kansas City and defeat Kansas City 20-10. I took the L on the win, but I did get the W on the spread. Patrick Mahomes, 14 of 33, 160 yards, and 3 interceptions against that very tough Houston defense. They are the number 1 defense in the league right now. They're showing it week after week. Kansas City falls to 6-7, and they have a very slim chance of making the playoffs at this point. They have to win out and hope for help now. C.J. Stroud, 15-31, 203 yards, and a touchdown. This was a story of 2 halves, basically, or maybe a three different halves, if you will. Let me explain. Houston was really tough in the first half. Kansas City dominated starting out the second half. I think at one time Stroud had like 8 or 10 incompletions in a row. He was like 0 of 8 or 0 for 10 for the second half. The score was 10-10. Andy Reid, his 4th down decision, he was in his own like 30-something yard line, and he decided to go for it on 4th and a yard and a half. It made no sense with the way Kansas City's defense was dominating Houston. He should have punted the ball from his own end there, put Houston back around their own 20, and let his defense dominate the way it had. I mean, Stroud was totally under siege. Why he did that, I have no idea. But it gave Houston some momentum. Something clicked for them. They drove it to 30-some yards and got a touchdown and took the lead. Then Kansas City had to go for it in their own end again here in the 4th quarter. And then they didn't get that, and Houston settled for a field goal, but they had a 10-point lead, and that was the game. Reed, after the game, said he messed that up, and I couldn't believe it. It was one of those decisions you just don't expect from Andy. He just didn't read the room. Even if analytics says to go for it there, I don't even know that it did, but if it did, you just don't. If you actually were watching the game, there was no reason for him to do that with the way his defense was playing. But, I think he knows that he's against it this year. And with the injuries on the line now, they're really in trouble to make the playoffs. In the Monday night game, it was a fun game to watch. It went to overtime. The Chargers were able to pull it out over Philadelphia, 22-19. I took the L on that on the win and the spread. Justin Herbert, 10 carries for 66 yards. Reminder, he had surgery, I think it was Monday, like a week ago, or Tuesday, like 6 or 7 days before this game, on his hand. He had it wrapped, and there's a glove, and there's a pad. And he took some shots because Philly's defense was getting in on him. That's why his passing numbers weren't great, but he was able to make some runs, get some first downs they needed. Jalen Hurts, 21 of 40, 240 yards, but 4 interceptions. Just not a good game. There's a lot of passes where him and his receivers were not on the same page. Cameron Dicker, he had 5 field goals in this game. He hit the one in overtime to put the Chargers up 3. Philadelphia did drive down to the field. They were inside the red zone of the Chargers. They threw a pass, and a great play by the Chargers. The guy tipped it to another one of his defenders. He intercepted it, which would end the game. He started running for some reason. I guess probably reflex. One of his own guys tackled him because once he's down, the game's over. So they won 22-19. The Chargers are now 9-4. They are still 2 games behind Denver. Philadelphia is 8-5. They're still a game and a half up on Dallas. That looks like that's the way they're going to be needing to get into the playoffs, is to win the division. So they need to watch themselves. They're still got a game and a half cushion, though. Carolina, New England, the Giants, and San Francisco on byes. Now everybody's played 13 games. There's no more byes coming up than the last 4 weeks. My predictions, the win predictions, I was 8-6. I'm 136-69-1 on that on the season. The spread, I was 7-7. I like 3 of them, like half a point or a point again that I lost. 93, 110-3. Hope you like this video. Probably going to do a short update video on the playoff picture tomorrow. Look forward for that. And if you can, like the video, subscribe to the channel, and I hope you have a good week.